Hey guys, Whitney here. Welcome to another episode of the Passive Investing Made Simple show. I'm your host, Whitney Elkins-Hutten, and I'm so excited that you're joining me today. We have got a pretty specific topic we are covering. Now, if you haven't already, you can join Passive Investing with Whitney.com. When you visit that website, you can fill out a short little form there. We can get to know each other better. You also get access to my calendar, and we can talk about all things passive real estate and how this amazing investment class can fit into your portfolio, become a part of your portfolio. On top of that, you get regular communication about webinars such as these, our free education series, and then you'll also get priority access to our open deals at passiveinvesting.com. So make sure you go to passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com and join there. Now, thank you to everybody who is joining us live today, the week before Christmas. We have a very special topic, and I think very timely too, to discuss, and that is what to expect after you invest in a deal. And it's not just about regular communication, but all the what ifs, what could happen to my deal if there's inclement weather and all those type of crisis communications. So hang on to your seat. We are about to dive into today's educational topic. But if this is the first time we're meeting, thank you so much for joining today. We do this free educational webinar every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time to help you understand the ins and outs of passive investing so you can go into your next deal with confidence. And this is the whole reason why I do it is that, this educational series, but also invest passively in real estate is because of me and my crazy crew here. We love spending time together, traveling the world. We work and play from the road. A lot of times, a good chunk out of the year. But that would not be possible if we did not have a good chunk of assets that didn't require time from us, attention from us, but also we're able to tap into those four core pillars. Now, there's 7 pillars of wealth I always talk about, but the 4 core: capital preservation, cash flow, equity growth, and tax benefits. It's diving in or building a portfolio based on those core 4 pillars that has allowed us to scale a portfolio that helps meet our needs. It wasn't always like that. I started off real estate investing completely by accident in 2002. I was living, flipping, house hacking, scaling a portfolio that way, really great at building equity, really bad at building cash flow. And then over the years, transitioned to buy and hold real estate, eventually scaled up from single family and small duplexes into multifamily real estate, and then continue to scale into general partnerships on larger deals, as well as building out our own passive portfolio. And, these are just vanity metrics. If you're watching the video today, my husband and I together have over 6,500 residential units, 2,200 self-storage units, 15 express car washes, and a myriad other holdings. But it's the result that those assets give us, those investments give us, and the 100% choice and freedom on how we spend our time. Okay, so super excited to share that with you. And part of this journey is really educating yourself on the ins and outs of passive investing. It's not just about how do I understand my goals, that operators, markets, and deals. No, you need to be, understand that you are in a partnership with the general partner, and that there are kind of certain rules to the game. You should be sussing out partners that treat you as a partner and will share communication with you. And we're going to dive into that piece today. But more importantly, as your partner here at passiveinvesting.com, we can help you scale a portfolio that will help you attain some of these 5 freedoms in life, either through equity investments or debt instruments. Okay, now, we're talking about all the what ifs around inclement weather. Like, what should that communication look like? What should the responses look like? Okay, especially whenever you're looking at the investments currently in your portfolio, but also if you're evaluating a deal that you're going into, what kind of communication relationship should you be looking for? I don't see us getting any financial advice. legal conversations or tax conversations, but if we do, make sure that you take any of that information back to your consulting team before investing. All right. So what to expect when, and we'll fill in the blank. Well, what should you expect whenever you invest in a passive deal? You should expect amazing communication from your operator. Okay. The communication is really one of the keys to a successful partnership between the limited partner and general partner. Okay. It's not that everything's going to go swimmingly well, no bumps in the road, nothing like that. It's all about transparency, honesty, and communication. And it should encompass regular communication, but also the crisis communication. Okay, what happens when things go wrong? All right, why is this important? Because again, communication is the foundation for any relationship, be it friendship, more in-depth relationship, like with a partner or something like that. But even with business partners, communication is key. So let's talk about what does regular communication look like? Because if we understand what regular communication looks like, then we can fully understand how this shifts whenever we start hitting a crisis mode. So regular communication should actually, good quality communication should actually start before you actually get invested in the deal. Okay, that should be with all the onboarding information that you're getting from the operating team. As soon as you join their email list, are you able to set up a call? How did the call go? Was there any follow-up information sent to you after the call? Then, are you getting deal alerts? What do the deal alerts look like? How does the investment summary look? Okay, all of that is actually occurring before you invest in a deal. So for those of you who are building out processes on how to vet operators right now, make sure you have a part of your checklist in there to help you understand and evaluate the communication you're getting from that operator. All right. Now, as soon as you get invested in a deal, you're going to want to start evaluating or look for closing alert communication in an investor guide. And that should come within 24 hours after a deal is closed. And then you also want to understand how that monthly communication is happening. Okay. And is there any sort of historical records of that communication being kept? And then what are you getting on a quarterly basis as far as financials, rent rolls, business updates, trailing 12, stuff like that. Okay. In operators, they vary. Maybe, somebody's, promises quarterly communication of financials, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you understand what that cadence of communication is going to be and what you should expect in that communication. All right. And then you want to understand the operator. How are they communicating around tax time? Okay. As far as when are they going to distribute the K1s? How are they ensuring all the information in the K1 is accurate and up to date? And then if they are repositioning a deal, you want to understand, do they do 1031 exchanges and how that communication occurs there? This is all part of understanding regular communications. Now, here's the thing. When we move into that situation of the what if, when, like if all the different things we can wrap our head around that might happen with a deal, regular communication, may or may not address that particular issue. Okay, if it's something dealing with the net operating income of the asset or interest rates or, refinances, stuff like that, that's all going to fall in your regular communication. But what happens when you have like a particular event happening on a property? What is the communication then? And you want to understand the operators, how they communicate with investors, because that's going to reduce a lot of anxiety for you, because you're investing in an operating business. You want to understand how that response happens. And now these are just a few things that I have run into in my short investing career. Severe power outages on a property, okay, that hinder operations for days and weeks at a time. Frozen pipes, the Great Freeze, the failure of the power grid in Texas, and frozen pipes that resulted as part of the failure of the power grid. all right, caused immense damage for a lot of the properties that I was invested in Texas during that time. I've had down trees on properties, okay, that have taken out, multiple units at a time, made them uninhabitable. Uh, Fire, it can be like a fire in one unit, or impacts like the neighboring units, or it can be like a fire that has taken down an entire building. Flooding, with you know changing weather patterns right now, that flooding in certain areas is becoming more and more apparent. Hurricanes, unfortunately, properties taking direct hit with hurricanes. And then, we all know what happened in 2020 with the pandemic. Here's the thing. All right, you cannot stop these things from happening on your property. Okay. Heck, even if you invested in the stock market in a REIT that held real estate, thinking that, okay, I've totally risk mitigated myself, you cannot stop these things happening to those properties in the REIT, or even to the businesses in a mutual fund. Okay. So really, when you invest, no matter if it's in a private asset or an asset publicly traded, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay, so how can you get comfortable with an operator's communication style, and that helps you understand not only what's happening on the property, happening with the asset, but also that allows you comfort and trust with that operator that they've got things handled. So let's take a look what a good communication pattern in a crisis situation, especially during inclement weather, looks like. All right, so step number one, say we have a hurricane make landfall or some sort of severe flooding situation. You're looking on the news and you're like, oh my goodness, I have a property in that town. Okay, it doesn't even have to be a coastal town anymore. I just have to, you have a property in that town. I wonder what's going on that property. I know as an investor, I've been in your shoes. Probably your first instinct is to whip open your computer and send an email to your operator going, is the property okay? Okay, are we going to be on the hook for any expenses? Like, what's going on here? Okay, just take some time and breathe. All right, because the operator, they have two customers. They have the investor, but they also have to take care of the tenants, okay, on that particular property. So remember, the operator's first response is actually to make sure that everybody at that property is safe and has resources. So the operator is, they're gonna email the investors in the deal. Just take a beat, because the operator's first number one thing is to make sure immediate communication is to the tenants and making sure that everybody is safe and has the resources they need to be safe. All right. And a lot of these communication steps tumble really fast. But number one, stop, is everybody on the property safe? Okay. Once that communication has gone out, okay, and there's bandwidth, they'll move on to communication number two, which is to the team that's boots on the ground there. Maybe it's the property management team, maybe it's actually the managers that are on site. But again, making sure the team themselves is actually safe, right? Safety is key, right? If we start losing lives and losing people vacating the property, we don't have a business anymore. Okay, so communication to the tenants, communication to the team, those are two things that happen very immediately. Once we determine everybody's safe, then it's like, what are the next steps that need to happen to maintain or improve business? Okay. Also, at that same time, and say like there's damage that has actually occurred on the property, the team will start cataloging that damage, taking pictures, okay, in the current state, because they're also going to start scheduling insurance, calling that insurance adjuster and saying, hey, we have damage on the property. When can we get you out here? Okay, some of that cleanup will need to start happening immediately in order to get tenants back into their building, or maybe shift them around to other units. So if it's safe, the team will go and start taking pictures on site and documenting a lot of that information, and just in case things need to start being cleaned up, and the adjuster knows what it looked like in the original condition. All right. And now the third phase. Okay. And again, this can happen within 24, 48, 72 hours timeline. So we're not talking about a real lengthy timeline here. We're just talking about the order the communication steps when there's a crisis that hits. The third step is then the communication to the investor. Okay. And in that communication, the investor should be looking for actually, hey, all of our tenants are safe. Okay. Or this is what's happened to the tenants. All the team is safe, right? Because if your tenants are safe, your team is safe, you can now maintain business and get it back to normal, right? They should also communicate the money and the assets. What is it, that the assets have been secure, the building is safe, or if there's damage, this is the type of damage that we see here. We've cataloged it. Okay, we know what's occurred. And these are the next steps that we need to take in order to get back to normal business operations. Part of that probably being an insurance claim. Now, here's the thing. Insurance, if anybody's ever had to file an insurance claim, but even if it's on your own personal property, you might be able to get the adjuster out there in the first 24, 48 hours on the property, but settling an insurance claim can take weeks in order for that to happen. Okay, so just know once you get past these 3 initial layers of crisis communication, now what the operator most likely will be doing is moving any additional updates into their monthly update structure. Okay, so any other summaries, on repairs, insurance claim, dollars being brought back in, that's going to be now absorbed back into the regular monthly communication. Okay, and just know, again, that insurance claims take time to settle. Now, guys, this was a very short and sweet episode, and us having a conversation around what happens, what can you expect as far as communication from your operator if there is inclement weather, and where does insurance fit in this particular timeline? All right, guys, this is your invitation to join, if you haven't already done so, passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. There you can get access to us having a one-on-one conversation talking about your passive investing goals, free access to other boot camps and masterclasses such as this, and then priority access to our open deals.